Mamady, thank you very much for joining me on this day to talk about personal branding and leadership. Introduce yourself and let people know who you are.
Thank you, Felix, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Anything that I can do in order to help the community, in order to get our story out there, to inspire somebody, I'm all for that. And that's the reason why I create an organization that does just that. My name is Mamady Konneh. I'm a cybersecurity professional. I've been in the cybersecurity field for over 10 years now. I specialize in identity and access management. I'm also the founder and executive director of a nonprofit organization that provides professional development and mentorship in Minneapolis and beyond. In 2021, we were organized by the governor of Minnesota. That's the Outstanding Immigrant Award because of the work that we have been doing in the community. We are also fortunate to collaborate with Fortune 500 companies to carry out our mission. And thank you for attending to our 2023 annual conference as a facilitator. And it was really, really well received by our members. And hopefully we get to do this again. Thank you for inviting me on your show.
Thank you very much. My name is Felix Okoth, and I'm going to be your host today. I sent 2 questions to Mamady. One of them was, how will you define your personal brand? And the second one was, what's your personal brand symbol and how does it relate to your daily life? So our conversation today will be focusing on those 2 things. And for me, from my personal perspective, I remember before I came to USA, I never used to share my story. But only after I started traveling from Kenya, East Africa, to Ghana, West Africa, and to USA, I met different cultures and I understood how they were sharing their stories, how the different cultural differences, how they were portraying them. And for me, I was always suppressing my story. Not only after college, that's when I started realizing the impact of my experiences from all these countries and the reasons why I should start sharing. And there's many of people like me who have a very unique story, but they feel that they're afraid of sharing any story that they have. So today, Mamady is my guest, and I'm sure we are going to learn a lot from him. And my goal is to inspire anyone to lead with their unique personal brand story. So, Mamady, thank you very much for joining. How will you define your personal brand?
Yeah, that's a good question. So before I even know my personal brand, is people that were my close friends and family actually knew about my personal brand before I even knew my personal brand. And if people that knows me closely will tell you that I always have a smile. And the reason why that, as I thought about it, how did I get that brand? It was when I was a teenager, and I went to a private school in Guinea, Conakry. That's where I was raised. I was born in Liberia, which is a neighboring country. My parents are originally from Guinea, but they moved to Liberia in the 80s, and that's where I was born. And when I was 3 years old, we moved back to Guinea. And that's what I went to elementary school and high school. And I was fortunate enough to go to a private school. And I remember vividly during vacation time, my parents would send me to the village. And can you imagine, you are 12 years old or 13 years old. You're supposed to be praying with your friends, right? And here I find myself with grandpas, grandmas. Imagine waking up at 6 in the morning, walking 2 or 3 miles to go to the farm, right? And coming back at 6 or 7. And I have nothing in common with my grandpa and grandma. And that's something that I didn't really say well with me. Now I have friends that were fortunate that went to Paris during their vacation time, where I was in a village hanging out with my grandparents. But one thing that had stuck with me and up to now is like these people had nothing, but for some reason they were the happiest people that I've ever met. Right? If somebody need a cooking oil, they just go next door and ask for cooking oil. You know, if somebody is sick, everyone is around you. Everyone brings something. That sense of having somebody there for you can even contribute to cure your disease that you have. And I saw a sense of community of people coming together, right? And I also saw a sense, as I mentioned, of people being happy. They have nothing. And that's where I got my smile from. You talk to somebody, they have nothing. What I mean nothing in not in terms of, I mean in terms of materials, you know, but they have each other. You meet anybody, they're always smiling, happy, and that's where I got that from. And that stuck with me since. And then when I came to America, you mentioned something is like, yes, I didn't know how to tell my story, because you come to America, you watch TV, there's this not good side of Africa that's shown on TV, right? And the side that's shown on TV is basically people sick, wars, diseases, but not the good side that I just explained to you. Going to a private school, being surrounded by love, by support, by my grandparents. That side is not really shown. So I struggle myself. How do I tell my stories? It took me some time, and I came here. My parents weren't educated in the American system, so I had to figure a lot of things on my own, right? And came to find out that hey, there were a lot of people like me that are out there that have the same story like me, but didn't have any avenue to tell the story. And that was one of the reasons I created We Network now, so people can come together, tell their stories, and so we can empower people to get out and be themselves. Because I do believe that your story is your competitive advantage, you know, and the worst thing that you can do is run away from it.
Yeah, thank you very much for that response. I truly believe that we all have a unique advantage, regardless of where we come from. And your story, there's many people who can relate to it. I can relate to the same story. I can probably 85% of your life is maybe similar to my life. We have those similar stories. And some of those stories, people, there's people like us actually who are reaching out to me through messaging, asking me about it, about how to start sharing. They have something to share, but they are not able to start. So they're asking, I don't know how to start. So, and that's the main reason for why also I started this show. Where I grew up with other kids in the orphanage. There's hundreds of youth now who have left the program, and not many of them are successful, but they are only looking at the education side. But they have what they have inside them, their story, their inner greatness, if they can explore that. Just like how you are saying now that you are realizing how there is that sense of community and how it can uplift people. I believe that if people start thinking that way, they will be uplifted, and the standard of living also will also increase. So thank you very much for sharing your story. You shared about a smile. Is a smile being your personal brand symbol?
Yeah.
That's your personal brand.
Correct.
Yeah. So I wanted to chime in a bit. You mentioned a smile. Everybody has a smile. And people haven't realized that they can use it to their advantage.
Correct.
So like you have come up with this approach for saying a smile is your personal brand symbol, and you're going to use it in any way to keep conveying and making your personal brand visible. So I think that's very unique what you picked up. For me, my personal brand symbol, it took me 9 months to actually generate it. I started by just a systematic approach for developing a personal brand. And through that process, at the end, since the beginning, I was always thinking, what will my personal brand symbol be? So I realized I started by first developing my brand, and then I went to the personal brand symbol path. But for most people that don't have a personal brand and they don't have a personal brand symbol, I realized that if I ask somebody, hey, what's your personal brand symbol? With that question, they will be able to answer their personal brand, and also they might say, but they don't have a symbol yet. But sometimes they do. So the way I ask that question, I think provokes this this journey of mind that can take you through a path to realize your true personal brand. So thank you very much for sharing. I think a smile, for me, mine was I took a Rubik's Cube, a very old technology. It's available everywhere, but I still use this. I still use it as my personal brand symbol, because the colors, the different patterns, though all those represent my unique experiences in different countries, and how I was able to work together with people to bring them to a common vision. And also there's element of solving problems, complexity, and having the step-by-step mindset. So I want to come back to you again. How do you use your personal brand and your personal brand symbol in your daily life?
Sure. It's interesting that you said that it was I'm a board member of a French immersion school called Notre École. It's a charter school. My daughter attend the school. It's a good school, and I sent an email out along those lines. It was about how I use my journey on the day-to-day basics to connect with people and to work with them efficiently. And one part of it is like anyone that I come across is when I'm talking to them, I always have a smile on my face. And sometimes I'm not even conscious about it because I do it so much that I'm not even conscious about it. And that does two things. And I think you and I talked about it last time. One is you never know what the other person is going through, right? You meeting them, having a smile can brighten. You never going to brighten somebody's life, somebody's day. That's one. And secondly, at least I think you talk about how the study was done about this. When you smile, you wake up in the morning, you smile. You can have I don't know what was the amount of minutes.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, if you wake up in the morning and you force yourself to smile, it can make your day it can make you have a good start to your day because you feel happy. Actually, you force yourself to smile, you generally feel happy. It's a study. Absolutely. I saw it in Arthur Brooks. He's one of the which school he teaches, but he talks about happiness.
Sure, that's good. And so back to your question, how I use that. I always see everything through positivity. I always do everything I see the silver lining and everything. And again, that goes back to my background, right? Where I used to go to a place in vacation where I was surrounded by elderly people that instilled me a lot of wisdom, but also that were grateful just for waking up in the morning, right? And I talked to you earlier where they didn't really have any material things, right? And despite all the challenges that I meet in my daily day-to life, I was like, well, it can be worse. So I always see it through those lenses, right? Hey, I have my mental capacity. I have my family. I have my close friends. It can get worse. So that's how I approach my personal brand, the smile, every day. No matter how tough things get, I always find a way to see light and positivity in it.
Yeah. I always tell people, if you think about the concept of Rubik's Cube, you have to take a step-by-step approach
Mm-hmm.
to solving it layer by layer. And sometimes when we have a very big problem, we try to tackle it as a big problem instead of taking it step by step. So I agree with you. Even if it's a smile, like through that process where you are solving something very complex and you
Mm-hmm.
smile, you are able to feel happy through that process. You're actually gonna feel more positive about it, and eventually you will solve whatever you're working on. So I agree with you. A smile goes a long way. Even when you meet a stranger on the elevator,
Yeah.
you
Right.
smile.
And now back to your point is like those that know me can tell you I can connect with anybody,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what level of society you said. Again, that goes back to my upbringing again, I can
yeah,
talk to anybody, I can connect with anybody. Well, I'm curious, I want to ask you this question is, the fact that you ask people what's your personal brand, I like it because I think you mentioned this, it forces one to do a self-assessment,
yeah.
right? It takes you to this mental exercise journey,
Mm-hmm.
to think about your background, where have you been? I'm curious, during the discovery of your personal brand, how did you come to like a cubicle? Because you mentioned earlier, well, you have been to different places and the
Yeah,
cubicle has different colors. I really, really like that. And you are
yeah.
from a STEM background,
Mm-hmm.
and then the technologies of, solving it,
Yeah,
things a mental exercise, right?
yeah.
But what was that process? Was it challenging? Was it fun?
Yeah, mostly actually the way I came about my personal brand symbol is it's just when I started tracking my life from the day I
Mm,
was born and all the different challenges I went through to the day I went to the orphanage
mm,
and how I grew up with different people from different tribes in the same house. There was like 9 to 12 kids at a time. So I was able to still, there's the cultural complexity. You're coming there, you're only speaking your mother tongue. And then when you meet,
mm,
you speak one common language, Swahili, and then everybody's trying to um, learn that process. So, and from Kenya then to Ghana the same way, and then I had a love for mathematics and physics and
mm,
sciences. So my professor used to, every time I do exam, he will look at it
mm.
and tell me, instead of touching your nose like this, you touch your nose like that.
Sure.
So a lot of my life has been about always finding my own unique way of solving things, even mathematics.
Mm, mm,
There's a formula that the professor will show you, and I will do it in another way, more like proof by induction. You get the answer, and I'm telling you this is why the answer is correct. So it gets
mm,
longer. So I take a different path. So but also in my life there's been some other I've always taken the higher level mathematics also and physics. So those added up to when I look at my life and the patterns, and even during the personal branding journey, how I came across that this thing was in front of me the entire time. And my kids kept finding it. And I'll try to solve it. And then they keep finding it. And every time they bring it, I was always still working on what is my personal brand symbol. I want something about problem solving, something about complexity, and something about life and cultural.
mm.
And so Rubik's Cube with the different colors, the patterns, all those brought it together. So that's how I ended up with this one. There's many examples I could pick, but thanks for asking that question.
Sure, sure. No, that's very, very interesting. That it really compels you to go back to the different space and time in your life and to think
Yeah,
about them, intentionally, right? And
yeah,
which led you to discover your personal brand, and that's good.
yeah. And even if you look at my personal brand symbol, it connects with a lot of anything process related. It
Mm-hmm,
connects to
mm-hmm,
my personal brand symbol. We network logo, it connects to, if you look at your logo, there's people coming together, shoulder to
Correct.
shoulder.
Correct.
And
Correct.
I talk about how the different colors, the patterns,
Sure.
show my unique experiences in different countries and how I was able to bring people together to a common vision. So we network logo is a subset of my personal brand symbol, if you think about it that way.
Yeah, that's good.
And
Well, I'm glad that you were able to find something in our logo because we went to different iterations before coming out with the final one. You know, we had to vote and which one was. But again, it resonated with you and me because you were born in you were raised in an orphanage. You were always with people that were different than you, different background. And me, it was the same thing. So I was 12 years old, being in this space where my grandpa, and coming back to the city again, with my friends. So all this and coming back to America, all this in different space, bringing all these people together with different background, different ideas can definitely be a good thing to build a good movement. And that's what we did. And I'm glad you can relate. So I hope.
Yes, the logo is very relatable, and I like what you're doing with We Network, and I'm looking forward to be involved more in We Network activities. I know I've gone to one conference, and I'm looking forward to attending more of those. So, is that, I know we are up to time here, but is that what was how did you come up with the logo itself? I know you just explained about the background. Yeah.
Sure. So again, it's me being in different spaces, and really I was the byproduct of that, right? Born in Liberia, grew up in Guinea, went to school there, spent my vacation time with grandpa, grandma, elderly people, and coming to America, different space, different culture, finding my way, my voice, going to school in Wisconsin, and moving to Minnesota, going to grad school. And I went to a program where the folks that I went to school with were like VPs, director. There were people that were already advanced in their career. I was like early in my career. It was one of the best decisions that I made. So being surrounded by folks that already have professional experiences that I was able to learn from them. And so I took all that experience for all those journeys and think about it. If we have all these experiences in one spot, what are we able to build? This will inspire people. And that's how the idea of logo came from. Again, like I said earlier, it went to different stages of iteration, but finally we came out with this. And then one thing that we had in mind, and I think I talked to her about this 2 days ago or 1 day ago, it was how do we have a platform now, what we are doing right now, to tell our stories? Because oftentimes our stories are told by other people, right? And sometimes not in a good light. Sometimes in a good light, sometimes in a good light. But I will trust a fisherman that has spent many years by the river than somebody sitting in the classroom learning about that river. I will trust the fisherman that has been there, born there, teaching me about the river than somebody who spent one semester sitting in the classroom learning about the river. So how do we come together to tell our story, inspire the next generation or folks that are even like us, that do not have the outlet to tell their stories?
Yeah. And I like that vision. And even We Network people, if they want to tell their story, they have a platform in my show also.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you.
The process that you went through to develop the logo for We Network, and we will show it later, is actually the same process you can go through to develop your personal brand. Every company has a logo, and it is a logo that when people see it, it causes intrigue and it invites conversation. Like if you enter the elevator and all you do is just start smiling, somebody will start thinking, what is this guy doing? And maybe they might talk to you. If you keep smiling longer, they will ask you something, and that's your start of your conversation. So personal brand symbol, like causes intrigues, brings this impromptu conversation, and just broadens your network. And that way you start building your brand as you go. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
We are up to time.
I
If you
would
have
like to
more,
add to that.
yeah.
I would like to add that why is paramount to go to this exercise to find your personal brand. And I noticed that you've never done some where people reaching out to you. It's the same thing for me. Whether it's We Network Now, whether it's speaking engagement, people reaching out to me because you cannot run away from your fabric. And what that means, you cannot run away from where you are, right?
Yeah.
When you show up as your authentic self, from my experience, you have a chances of attracting people. Then you show up as in somebody's life, and people can pick up on that, right?
Yeah.
And what I noticed early on is in the professional space, at least, some folks try to live for this, people like, and that's good, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that only can take you so far because when you go home, you look at in the mirror, what you think about yourself when you are alone, that's where you are right there. And then if you're running away from that, and that's
I agree with you. I agree with you. Some people try to fit in and also be somebody else, and they don't know if their secret superpower is actually inside them. They're always trying to, they go around looking here and there, and eventually they come back. So my goal is to bring people back to themselves and to embrace what they have inside. And that's why I have this, my tagline is follow my journey and I will inspire you to lead with your unique personal brand story. So if you start your personal brand journey, you can tell somebody else the same thing. Follow my journey and I will inspire you to lead with your unique personal brand story. And I think that's how, as leaders, our direct reports and our team members will know who we are. And they won't be asking, I don't know what is his leadership style like? Because if you start your brand, it should be able to show. And that's hopefully my mission, to bring people together in this kind of environment will help a lot of people. So thank you very much. I know you have to run.
Thank you.
And we have like 5 minutes left on the time, but we can end there unless you have any last thing to say.
Sure. And the last thing that I can say is in the process of finding your personal brand, it's also important to be uncomfortable, right? Be in space where you would not be comfortable otherwise, right? Because it forces you to think critically about your personality. And I would like to thank you for all the great work that you're doing. You might think this is very small, but I really believe in the compounding effect, right? You inspire one people, that person has relatives, has brothers, sisters, friends, and imagine that person going to those folks to say, hey, go to the journey of finding your personal brand, and they do that, and that multiply. Something that is small, you see the ripple effect in the community, and you see the ripple effect in the city, in the country, and so on and so forth. So thank you. It might be small to you, but the effect can be bigger than you can imagine. again, I would love to collaborate in future conversation. Also bring We Network Now members to have this kind of conversation, so they
Yeah.
can start their own journey as well.
Yeah, I agree. I know we are running out of time, but I wanted to mention, I agree with you. Actually, people ask me, how do you feel sharing your personal life like that? And because that question is actually inside many people, but they don't say it out loud. They just keep quiet. So I agree with you in we need to be uncomfortable. Like it's a very uncomfortable journey that, and we need to be brave to stand up for what we believe in and to uplift ourselves and everybody else around us. So I agree on that. And thank you for the invite to continue attending We Network. If I was you, I would love my We Network logo behind my screen. Part of branding. But next time you get another opportunity.
Sure, we'll do that. We'll do that. And I told you, and as part of your personal brand, they are fruits of your personal brand. And I believe that We Network Now is one of the fruits of my personal brand. And the reason why I say that, I met a lot of folks, from different backgrounds, different spaces, and I was able to share my story with them, and they were able to come to my space, talk to me, and that's what gave birth to We Network Now, and hopefully we'll continue.
Yeah, and I wanted to just quickly, 2 minutes here, but just one quick one. I wanted to mention something that you mentioned about like how, so many people have told me write a book. Like every time, like when I post, like people like, you need to write a book, stop giving people small bits. And my wife said I need to start a coaching program or something like that. So, and a few years ago, nobody was saying that. Like nobody, if you start sharing your story, start being on the personal branding journey, actually you're going to get people who are motivating you to do something else great, something that is much bigger than what you're doing then. So the compounding effect is really like you're mentioning. People ask me what you want to be in the future, but for me, I want to be in executive leadership roles in the future. And I believe that what I'm doing now is compounding to something bigger and taking me closer to that. So thanks for that. We can end on that note. Thank you very much for coming to my show, Leadership and Personal Branding. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.